Hi everyone, this is Phil at OneModel, and a question I get asked a lot is, can I do this on my own? So in this particular case, we've created an analysis where we looked at a cost allocation of annual salary across time periods. We looked at it for different parts of our organizational hierarchy. And, that's a very detailed analysis that you can do very quickly in OneModel. But when people watch us do that, they very much want to know, is this something I can do myself? Am I dependent on the OneModel team to create the metrics, to be able to set everything up for me? Or can I just dive into this and take ownership of it myself? And the answer, of course, is that you can do this yourself. What I'm going to show you in this video is how I created this cost allocation metric. So let's close up our organizational hierarchy here. And if you take a look over at the left-hand side of the screen, we're going to look at our metrics. And I'm going to click this button for Create and Edit. So this is an interface that our customers have access to. It's also one that we use to build metrics for our customers. But critically, our customers can build whatever metrics they want in the tool. They're not reliant on us, and they're not limited to just the things that we thought were important. So prior to setting up this analysis, what I did is I created this compensation cost daily allocation metric. And how I did this in OneModel is actually really simple. So what I did is, I labeled my metric. I gave it a name so I could find it later. I decided who should have access to it, kind of some of that administrative stuff that's happening at the top of the screen. But then next to it, all I had to do in my metric definition area is I just had to find the field that annual salary is stored in, and that is in tables over here on the left. So I went to the table, found my employees, found their annual salary. And then the next thing I had to do is just remember how many days were in a year. So I divided that number out by 365. If you want to get precise, and our customer success team typically does, you could divide by 365.25. But in this case, I left it at 365. So what's happening then at a field level is I have an annual cost, I divide by 365, now I have a daily cost. And then here's the fun part. Every metric in OneModel has a notion of time associated to it. So if you look at this period filter dropdown, I could look at that number for either the beginning of the period, for the end of the period. But right now for this metric, I don't have to change anything about it at all. What happens is if I select none here, and I have the metric set up this way, whatever time period I select for whatever groupings will look at every single day in that time period and sum it up for me. The last thing I did is I made it a currency field and I said I didn't need to know the cents. I just had the dollar amounts. This is actually a more nuanced metric that you might set up, but all the metrics we provide in OneModel are visible to you as a customer. You can decide who has access to change them. And then really importantly, you can centrally manage these definitions. Because the other thing that will happen very often is I create a metric, maybe I do a formula in Excel, I share that out with somebody, then one of my colleagues comes along, they use a slightly different formula, like they divide by 0.25, and now we have numbers that don't match. And then leaders look at that, they want to know why it doesn't match, and it creates more problems than it really solves. So what we're doing in OneModel is providing this easy interface to build and manage metrics. Once you save these and share them, it means everybody's on the same page. When they use a metric, it's calculated the same way as everyone else. You kind of cut down on a lot of that chaos that can come into play when you're using spreadsheets or you're using other BI tools. So if you find yourself thinking about metrics, struggling to create metrics, reach out to us here at OneModel. We're happy to help.